I missed my final exam after my sister dumped her kids on me for her emergency. Then I found out she was in Vegas, and my mom told me to just let it go. I still remember the crushing weight of that night, surrounded by empty coffee cups, frantically studying for my final. But what happened next wasn't just about failing a test, it was about the sickening betrayal of my own sister, forcing me to make an impossible choice that would change everything. It was 11:47 p.m. My chemistry textbook was swimming before my eyes, 9 hours until my final, 9 hours to cram an entire semester of biochemistry. My desk lamp cast a sickly yellow glow and the molecular diagrams blurred together. Then my phone buzzed. Vanessa. My stomach dropped. I knew. That specific ringtone, the one I'd set for her after her third emergency call that semester. It just kept buzzing, dancing across my chemistry notes. I wanted it to stop, but Vanessa? She never stops until she gets what she wants. On the 7th ring, I picked up. Claire. Her voice trembled, a practiced quiver. I need you. Just for a few hours tomorrow. That familiar knot tightened in my throat. Tomorrow? I have my chemistry final. A baby wailed in the background. Ella, her distinctive cry. It's a medical appointment, Vanessa insisted. My mother's voice echoed in my head, a mantra since childhood. Asterisk, you need to be there for family, no matter what. Asterisk, it was etched into my brain right alongside the periodic table. I pressed my fingers against my temples. What time? Just the morning. 3 hours tops. I'll pick them up by 2. 3 hours. My final started at 9. If I cut my review. I really need to study. Please, Claire. Her voice cracked, truly cracked. This time. I don't have anyone else. Mom's working, and you know how Leo gets with strangers. The sound of my 4-year-old nephew's name twisted something in my chest. Leo, who called me Auntie Claire and drew me stick figure scientists because he knew I wanted to be a doctor. I stared at my planner, the hours meticulously mapped out. 3 hours of childcare meant 3 hours less study time. The numbers just never added up when Vanessa called. Just 3 hours, I finally conceded. I need to be back studying by 2. You're a lifesaver. The tears in her voice vanished, replaced by bright, almost gleeful relief. I'll drop them off at 8. I hung up and set my alarm for 7 instead of 7:30. Every single minute counted now. But of course, Vanessa arrived at 8:45 a.m., hair wild, makeup half done. Baby Ella wore a stained onesie, and Leo clutched his dinosaur backpack with one sock on and one foot bare. His other shoes. In the car somewhere, she chirped, shoving an overstuffed diaper bag into my arms. Ella just ate. And Leo likes apple juice. There's some in the bag. I tried to catch her arm. You said 8 o'clock. I know, I'm sorry. She swiped at her lipstick, which was smeared slightly. Traffic was awful. Oh, and I might grab lunch with Sarah after my appointment. Just an extra hour. Tops. My chest tightened, a cold dread creeping in. But you said you're the best. She kissed each child quickly, lingering a moment longer than usual with Ella. A flicker in her eyes. Guilt? Fear? But then she was gone, her coat flapping behind her, hurrying down the hall. I caught a glimpse of sequins beneath the practical brown wool. Not exactly medical appointment attire. The door clicked shut. Leo tugged at my sweater with sticky fingers. Auntie Claire, I'm hungry. Okay, buddy. I hoisted Ella higher on my hip, trying to balance her against my biochemistry textbook. Let's get you some breakfast. Ella started to fuss, and I bounced her gently while digging through the diaper bag. My phone buzzed. A message from my professor. Review session starting now. Last chance before the final. I silenced the phone and pulled out a juice box for Leo. He squeezed it too hard, and apple juice sprayed across 3 pages of my carefully color-coded study guide. My hands shook as I mopped up the spill. The molecular structures blurred and ran together, stained, sweet, and sticky. Just like everything else Vanessa touched. The hours dragged on. 9 o'clock. 10. 11. My unanswered texts piled up. Van, where are you? The appointment should be done by now. Please call me. Van, I have to study. At 5:47 p.m. I was pacing my tiny dorm room, Ella crying against my shoulder while Leo built a fort from my pillows. My professor's name flashed on my phone, the third missed call. When my phone finally rang at 9:30 p.m., I grabbed it so fast I almost dropped Ella. Van. Music pounded through the speaker. Laughter. The unmistakable ding of a slot machine. Claire. Vanessa's voice floated through the chaos, loose and slurred. Slight change of plans. Can you keep them overnight? The room spun. I sank onto my bed, still clutching Ella. My final was in 11 hours. Vanessa. My voice came out strange and tight. Where are you? But I already knew. The better question was, what on earth was I going to do about it? The screen of my phone glowed in the darkness. 14 missed calls, 23 text messages. My thumb hovered over Vanessa's name. The clock read 3:47 a.m., and somewhere in the apartment, Leo whimpered in his sleep. Vanessa, please. My voice broke as I recorded yet another voicemail. It's been 24 hours. Just tell me you're okay. The words echoed in the kitchen where I stood, barefoot on the cold linoleum. A bottle of formula sat half-prepared on the counter, powder scattered like snow around its base. My hands shook as I pressed end on the call. 1 hour. I'd give her 1 more hour before I called the police. The thought made my stomach clench. I imagined the conversation. Yes, officer, my sister abandoned her children with me. No, officer, she didn't. Say where she was going. Yes, officer, I'm only 18. Leo's whimpers turned into a full-blown cry. I shuffled toward the bedroom, my legs heavy with exhaustion. He sat up in the nest of blankets I'd made on my floor, his Spider-Man pajamas twisted around his small body. When's mommy coming back? His lower lip trembled. Soon. The lie tasted bitter. Let's get you some water, buddy. In the kitchen, my phone buzzed. My heart leaped, but it was just my mother returning my frantic calls from earlier. Have you heard from her? I asked, skipping any greeting. Oh, honey, you know how Vanessa gets. Mom's voice carried that familiar note of dismissal, that irritating, willful blindness. She's done this before. She'll be back. Done what before? Left her kids. I shot back, my voice rising. Don't be dramatic, Claire. She probably just needed a break. The words hit like a physical slap. I thought of my biochemistry final, now definitively missed, of Professor Wilson's voicemail about automatic failure, of Leo's tear-stained face and Ella's endless crying. I'm calling the police, I stated flatly. Claire Elizabeth Morgan, don't you dare. Mom's voice sharpened into its commanding tone. We handle family matters in the family. I ended the call. My fingers trembled as I dialed 911. Each ring felt like an eternity until a calm voice answered. 911. What's your emergency? I need to report. The words stuck in my throat. My sister left her children with me yesterday morning. She hasn't come back. She's not answering calls. The dispatcher's voice remained steady. How long has she been gone? 26 hours. I swallowed hard. She said she had a medical appointment. She was supposed to be back in 3 hours. And the children's ages. Leo is 4. Ella is 8 months. There was a pause, then, we'll send in officer to take a report. The next hour blurred. Officer Martinez arrived. He stood in my cramped dorm room, notepad in hand. His expression a mix of sympathy and something else, something that made my chest tight. Sounds like she needed a break from the kids, he said, echoing my mother's infuriating words. This happens sometimes with young mothers. She said she had a medical appointment. I pulled up the hospital's number on my phone. Could you check? He made the call. I watched his face as he listened, knowing the answer before he spoke. No record of an appointment for Vanessa Morgan. Yesterday. My world tilted sideways. I grabbed the edge of my desk to steady myself. I'll put out a welfare check, Officer Martinez said. But if she's just taking some personal time. Personal time. The words came out sharp, laced with fury. She left her baby without formula. Leo has school tomorrow. This isn't personal time. He wrote something in his notepad, probably noting my tone, my age, my obvious inability to handle this situation. After he left, I sat at my computer. My hands moved automatically, typing Vanessa's name into Facebook. The page loaded. This user has blocked you. Instagram next. Blocked. Twitter. Blocked. The reality crashed over me like a wave. This wasn't an emergency. This wasn't a mistake. This was planned. In the kitchen, I counted formula scoops with shaking hands. 4 bottles left. Maybe 5 if I stretched them. Leo needed lunch for tomorrow, but the sandwich bread had gone moldy. My last $20 sat in my wallet, meant for my bus pass to get to my now-failed final. A knock on the wall startled me. Keep it down in there. My neighbor's voice carried through the thin drywall. That? Baby's been crying for hours. I looked at Ella, red-faced and screaming in her makeshift bed. A laundry basket lined with blankets. I'd changed her diaper 3 times, but nothing helped. My hands shook as I tried to warm another bottle, the formula spilling across the counter. I'm sorry, I whispered, though I wasn't sure to whom. To Ella? To Leo? To myself? I pulled out my phone and started a new note. Day 2 without Vanessa, I typed, then added the time and date. I took pictures. The empty formula containers, Leo's tear-stained face, the failed diaper changes evident in the rash spreading across Ella's skin. Evidence. I needed evidence. My professor's voicemail played. Again in my head. Missing this final means failing the course. Family emergencies require documentation. I emailed him anyway, attaching photos of the police report. His response came quickly. Personal family matters are not excused absences without prior arrangement. The syllabus is clear on this point. The alarm on my phone chimed, the one set for my final. I silenced it with trembling fingers then slid down the kitchen wall until I hit the floor. Ella's cries had turned to whimpers. Leo slept fitfully on my bed, his small body curled around my pillow. In the bathroom mirror, a stranger stared back at me. Dark circles ringed my eyes, my hair hung limp and unwashed. Formula stains marked my last clean shirt. My phone rang. The screen showed Vanessa's name. My hands shook so badly. I almost dropped it as I answered. Hey, how are the kids doing? Her voice was light, casual. In the background, I heard the distinctive electronic trill of slot machines, the sound of distant cheering. You're in Vegas? The words came out in a whisper. Oh my God, Claire, you won't believe it. I met this guy at the bar yesterday, and he just happened to have an extra ticket and I stopped listening. The slot machines kept ringing in my ears, a mocking chorus of bells and whistles, while my world collapsed in a dorm room 500 miles away. My fingers gripped the phone so tight my knuckles blanched white. When are you coming home? The question scraped my throat raw. Soon, soon. Ice clinked against glass. Someone shouted about drinks. Hey, Tony. Yeah, I'll take another martini. The line went dead. I stared at my reflection in the dark window. Dark circles. Carved valleys under my eyes, and baby formula crusted the collar of my wrinkled T-shirt. Behind me, the physics textbook lay abandoned on the kitchen counter, mocking all my plans for finals week. A knock at the door startled me. Emily from my chemistry study group stood in the hallway, clutching a CVS bag. I got your text. She pushed past me, pulling out containers of formula and a fresh pack of diapers. The store was almost closed, but I made it. My chin trembled. You didn't have to. Yes, I did. She squeezed my arm. When's the last time you slept? I shook my head, unable to remember. The next morning, Professor Wilson took one look at me standing in his office doorway and held up his hand. Miss Morgan, you look like you haven't slept in days. I can take the final, I just need what you need is rest. He pulled out a form from his desk. I'm approving a deferred exam. Family emergency. But the the policy exists for situations exactly like this. He signed the bottom with a flourish. Take care of yourself and those children. The exam. We'll be here when you're ready. I clutched the paper, my vision blurring. That afternoon, Mrs. Henderson from next door found me attempting to soothe Ella's colicky screams. Without a word, she lifted the baby from my arms and demonstrated a gentle bouncing motion. Like this, dear. Support her head and pat her back in rhythm. Ella's cries softened to whimpers. My Tommy was the same way. 30 years ago. I watched her expert movements, memorizing the pattern. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. You're doing nothing wrong. She settled into the rocking chair. That's sister of yours, though. My hands trembled so badly I dropped the bottle I'd been warming. Glass shattered. Across the linoleum. Leo's Batman cup tumbled from the counter in my scramble to clean up, spraying apple juice everywhere. I can't, the room's fun. My skin burned fever hot. I need to, the mop handle clattered against the cabinets as I slumped to the floor. Mrs. Henderson's worried face swam above me. I can't do this anymore, the words came out between sobs. I'm failing them. I'm failing everyone. That night, after both kids finally slept, I sat at the kitchen table with my planner. Page by page, I wrote out their schedule. Bottles, naps, Leo's favorite snacks, Ella's preferred swaddle. Technique. The paper grew damp with tears. I washed every bottle until it sparkled. Folded tiny onesies into perfect squares. Spent my last $20 on the exact brand of diapers Ella needed. For her sensitive skin. My voice shook as I recorded the final entry in my log. Day 4 without Vanessa. No contact since Vegas call. Children fed, bathed, homework complete. Leo asked about mommy. Again. I didn't know what to say. A strange calm settled over me as I packed my own bag. One change of clothes. My laptop. The physics textbook I hadn't opened in days. Your mommy will be home soon, I whispered, stroking Leo's hair as he slept. He clutched his stuffed dinosaur, thumb in his mouth. For years old and already learning that people leave. Ella stirred in her crib. I traced her tiny features with my finger, the bow of her lips, the curve of her cheek. So much trust in such a small package. My mother's number blinked on my phone screen. Better to send the documentation now before I lost my nerve. For days of detailed logs, photos, timestamps. The Vegas call recording. Everything. The key scraped in the lock just past midnight. Vanessa burst in, phone pressed to her ear, a golden tan glowing in the dim light. God, Vegas was wild. I totally lost track of time. She tossed her designer bag onto the counter, scattering my carefully arranged care notes. The pool parties were insane. You should have seen, she finally noticed my expression. What? They're fine, aren't they? You always handle everything. The words stuck in my throat. I missed my final. I called the police. You're being so dramatic. She waved her hand, rolling her eyes. It was just a few days. I needed a break. The police filed a report. Child Services, can you shut up? She flopped onto the couch. I'm exhausted. Something inside me went very, very still. I stood, my movements precise. I gathered my bag, straightened the care schedule on the counter where she'd scattered it. Ella's soft breathing. Leo's dinosaur tucked against his chest. The gentle whir of the baby monitor. The door clicked shut behind me without a sound. The next day, the train window reflected my hollow eyes back at me, dark circles carved beneath them. Like bruises. My hands rested in my lap, skin raw and red from 4 days of washing bottles. Changing diapers, living someone else's life. The woman sitting across from me kept glancing over. Probably wondering if I was sick. Maybe I was. My phone weighed heavy in my pocket, loaded with evidence. For days of detailed logs, photos, voice memos recorded in exhausted whispers at 3 a.m. The precise documentation of a sister's betrayal, a mother's willful blindness, a family's pattern of using the reliable one until she breaks. I pulled out my phone, thumb hovering over the send all button I'd created last night. The file would go to Mom, Aunt Sarah, Aunt Beth, everyone who needed to see exactly what happened while Vanessa played in Vegas. Everyone who needed to understand why I finally walked away. My thumb pressed down. A soft whoosh confirmed the send. 3 seconds passed before Mom's name lit up my screen. I silenced it, watching her call fade to a missed notification. Then another. And another. The quiet between each ring felt like permission to breathe. My phone buzzed with Mom's text, "You could have just stayed one more day." A laugh bubbled up in my throat, sharp and bitter as black coffee. One more day. Always one more day. One more favor, one more emergency, one more sacrifice of my time, my studies, my life to cover for Vanessa's latest disappearing act. Aunt Sarah's voicemail came next. I had no idea Vanessa would do this. The lie in her voice stung worse than the truth. They all knew. They'd watched Vanessa dump her kids on me a dozen times before. They just never had to see the aftermath, never had to witness what it cost me to clean up her messes. But Aunt Beth's message landed different. "You can stay with me if you need space. No questions asked." My eyes burned as I typed back a simple yes. The first word I'd said to any of them since walking out of Vanessa's apartment. 2 hours later, I collapsed into Beth's guest room bed. The silence rang in my ears, no crying babies, no toddler tantrums, no constant undercurrent of anxiety about what crisis might come next. Just quiet. I slept for 14 hours straight. When I woke, Beth had left soup warming on the stove and fresh towels in the bathroom. I caught my reflection as I splashed water on my face. The dark circles hadn't faded, but something else had changed. My shoulders had dropped from their permanent hunch. My jaw had unclenched. Professor Wilson's email arrived while I was picking at the soup. Deferred exam approved. Documentation received. The relief hit so hard, I had to sit down. One piece of my life salvaged from the wreckage Vanessa left behind. In the next few days, I ate real meals. I showered without rushing. The color seeped back into my face like watercolor bleeding across paper. And on the 4th night at Beth's, while folding laundry, that smelled like lavender instead of spit up, I finally broke. The sobs came from somewhere deep and primal, ripping through my chest like they might tear me apart. Beth found me on the floor, surrounded by half-folded towels, keening like a wounded animal. She didn't try to fix it, just sat beside me, hand steady on my shoulder, while years of swallowed pain poured out. The text from Vanessa came a week later. "You promised to watch Leo while I take Ella to her Saturday checkup. Don't flake now." My finger hovered over the reply button. The old instinct screamed to say yes, to keep the peace, to be the good sister, the reliable aunt, the eternal safety net. Vanessa's dismissive wave flashed through my mind. "You're being so dramatic." The sound of slot machines in the background while I changed her baby's diaper at 3 a.m. The casual way she walked back into her apartment, tanned and rested, while I stood there running on caffeine and pure stubbornness. I set the phone face down on Beth's kitchen counter. "You don't owe her anything," Beth said quietly, squeezing my shoulder as she passed. The simple truth of it settled into my bones. A week later, through the family grapevine, I heard about Vanessa's trip to the pediatric clinic. How she struggled to manage both kids alone. How the nurse recognized her name from the missing persons report I filed. How Vanessa's standard excuses fell flat against professional skepticism. She was 40 minutes late, Aunt Sarah reported, her voice hushed like she was sharing gossip, rather than evidence of neglect. They made a note in Ella's file. Something about welfare concerns. The ripples spread. Friends who once enabled Vanessa's behavior started pulling back. Mom's daily voicemails grew increasingly frantic, begging me to just talk to your sister. She's really trying now. The formal letter from Child Protective Services arrived at Beth's house. Forwarded from my dorm address. Vanessa must attend mandatory parenting classes. Weekly check-ins. Supervised visits if she leaves the kids with anyone. Her voicemail crackled with rage. Are you happy now? They're making me take classes. This is all your fault. I deleted it without replying. The acceptance letter from the Denver Summer Research Program arrived on a Tuesday morning. The crisp letterhead bore my name, my future, my chance to breathe free air untainted by obligation and guilt. My smile felt foreign on my face as I signed the acceptance form. I didn't tell Mom. Didn't tell Vanessa. Didn't announce it on social media where family could see. This piece of joy belonged to me alone. Later that night, I packed the single photo I kept of Leo and Ella. Their bright eyes shone up at me from the frame, Leo's gap-toothed grin, Ella's pudgy hands reaching for the camera. My heart squeezed. I traced their faces through the glass, memorizing details I might forget. Then I wrapped the frame carefully in tissue paper and tucked it into my desk drawer. Some loves have to be held from a distance to keep from drowning in them. I closed the drawer softly, letting the click of the latch mark the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. One where I choose myself first. Where my voice rings clear and true, where no is not a betrayal but a battle cry. They'll call it abandonment, running away, selfishness. I call it survival. A month later, the microscope clicked into focus under my fingers. Through the lens, bacterial colonies spread across the petri dish in perfect, predictable patterns. Here in the sterile quiet of the Denver Research Lab, everything made sense. No chaos, no drama, no last-minute emergencies that aren't actually emergencies at all. I adjusted my lab coat, still stiff with newness, and made another note in my research log. Around me, other students and researchers moved with purpose, focused on their own projects. None of them knew about the trail of broken promises and manipulated guilt I left behind in Meadowbrook. None of them cared that I haven't spoken to my sister in 32 days. Hey, wanna grab lunch? My lab partner Rachel leaned against my workstation. That new sandwich place opened across the street. Give me 5 minutes to finish this culture. Count. Rachel nodded and wandered off to gather her things. My phone buzzed in my pocket, the special vibration pattern I set for family messages. I didn't need to look to know it's another text. From Vanessa. They'd been coming more frequently lately, a desperate digital drumbeat. Where are you? Mom won't tell me. Answer your phone, Claire, this isn't funny. You can't just disappear like this. I clicked to the next microscope field, counting methodically. My mother's voicemail stacked. Up 2, her tone shifting from worried to pleading. Please call me back, Claire. I know you're upset, but we're still family. Family. The word didn't mean what it used to. A letter arrived. Yesterday, forwarded from my old address. The CPS letterhead made my hands shake when I opened it. Required parenting classes. Mandatory supervision. The consequences Vanessa never thought would catch up to her, spelled out in clean bureaucratic type. The microscope slid out of focus. I blinked. Hard, realigning the lens. Earth to Claire. Rachel waved a hand in front of my face. You okay? You've been staring at that same spot for like 5 minutes. Sorry. Got lost in thought. I pushed back from the microscope, stripping off my latex gloves. Lunch sounds good. My new roommate Kate noticed it too. That evening she perched on the edge of my bed while I folded laundry, watching me match socks with mechanical precision. You never talk about your family, she said carefully. Bad blood? I smoothed a wrinkle from a t-shirt. Something like that. My phone lit up again. Vanessa's number flashed on the screen, no voicemail this time. She was learning I wouldn't listen to them. Anyway. But 2 days later, Aunt Beth's message landed like a rock in my stomach. Vanessa showed up at my house looking for you. She seemed different. More scared than angry. In the following weeks, the family gathering photos started appearing on Facebook. Cousin Sarah's graduation party. Uncle Mike's retirement barbecue. In every shot, the space where I should be stood empty. Mom's smile looked strained. Vanessa held Leo and Ella close, her eyes searching the edges of every frame like she might find me lurking there. Her complaints didn't find the same sympathetic audience anymore. The story spun differently when I wasn't there to absorb the blame, to smooth things over, to make excuses. The family system creaked and shifted, readjusting to my absence like a body learning to walk with a missing limb. My phone rang on a Wednesday night, 2 months since I walked away. Vanessa's number. My finger hovered over decline. But something made me answer. The silence stretched between us for 3 heartbeats. Guess you're just gonna ghost your family, huh? Her voice crackled with familiar venom. That's cold. I took a slow breath, tasting the words before I spoke them. I didn't disappear. I just stopped making excuses for people who do. The silence returned, heavier this time. I heard her breathing change. The CPS worker said I could lose them. Her voice cracked on. The last word. All the acid drained away, leaving something raw and frightened underneath. What did you think would happen when you left them? The question came out steady, neutral. Not cruel, but not gentle either. I don't. She swallowed hard. What am I supposed to do now? Take responsibility for your choices. A sound caught in her throat, half laugh, half sob. I messed up. I know that now. I said nothing. Let the weight of her words fill the space between us. I'm taking these parenting classes. Her voice steadied slightly. They make sense, you know? And I started therapy last week. The counselor says I have to deal with my abandonment issues. From Dad leaving. This is your journey to make, I told her. Not mine. She started to protest, then stopped herself. Progress, maybe. When we hung up, my hands didn't shake. My chest felt lighter, like setting down a burden I'd carried so long I forgot its weight. The calendar on my wall showed Thanksgiving approaching. I traced the dates with my finger, considering. Kate appeared in my doorway with a mug of tea. You're thinking about going home, aren't you? I nodded slowly. I think I am. Are you sure you're ready? A smile tugged at my lips as I packed my weekend bag, my movements calm and deliberate. I checked my flight confirmation one more time before answering. I'm not the one who needs to be ready. At present, my hand trembled on the brass doorknob of my mother's house. The November wind whipped fallen leaves around my ankles, and my stomach churned as memories flooded back. I closed my eyes, drew in a breath that smelled of wood smoke and impending snow, and turned the handle. Mom stood in the doorway, her face lined with the months I'd missed. Silver threads now dominated her temples, where there used to be patches of gray. She opened her arms, and I stepped into them. The hug felt different, tentative, like we were both handling crystal that might shatter. Claire. Her voice broke on my name. I followed her inside, noting changes. New photos lined the hallway wall where there used to be only Vanessa's children. Among them, I spotted my Denver award pictures. Mom must have gotten it from Aunt Beth. The house felt smaller than before. Cozier, yet more confined. Like a sweater that once swallowed me whole now pulled tight across my shoulders. Aunt Beth swooped in from the kitchen, flour dusting her apron. There's my brilliant niece, she announced, pride radiating from her smile. Everyone, come meet Claire. She's doing incredible research on cellular regeneration in Denver. Mom's hand fluttered near my elbow, hesitating before speaking. Would you like some coffee, honey? I got those vanilla beans you used to, she stopped herself. Or would you prefer something else? The absence of automatic criticism felt strange, like missing a stair step. In the dark. Coffee would be wonderful, Mom. A door slammed outside. Mom tensed, but didn't rush to help as Vanessa struggled through the front door, juggling bags and children. My sister looked different, her designer clothes replaced by practical jeans and a warm sweater. Her face bore little makeup and her eyes focused on her children instead of her phone. Auntie Claire. Leo barreled toward me, his small body colliding with my legs. I missed you so much. Did you see my turkey picture? I made it just for you. My throat tightened as I ruffled his hair, noting how much he's grown. I can't wait to see it, buddy. Vanessa set down her bags, our eyes meeting across the foyer. The air grew thick with unspoken words. She looked younger somehow, stripped of her carefully constructed facade. More like the sister I remembered from childhood, before life's sharp edges hardened her. Claire. Her voice wavered. Can we talk? In the kitchen. I followed her, my feet remembering the path across worn linoleum. Steam rose from the coffee maker, and somewhere upstairs a clock chimed noon. We stood, facing each other, the granite counter between us like a border marking separate territories. Tears filled Vanessa's eyes. I don't know how to make this right. You might not be able to. The words came out steady, surprised by my own calm. She pulled a folded paper from her back pocket, a certificate with an official seal. I finished the parenting course. Her fingers traced the edge of the document. And this, she reached into her purse, withdrawing a spiral notebook filled with cramped writing. My therapy journal. Dr. Marshall says I should share it with you. I didn't reach for either item. Why? Because I never realized. Her voice cracked. God, Claire, I never understood how much I took advantage of you. How much she pressed her lips together, fighting for control. You were 18. You should have been living your life, not raising my children. The familiar urge to comfort her rose, but I let it pass. I will always love Leo and Ella. No. She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand. But I will never be your emergency childcare. Again. The words rang clear in the quiet kitchen. Not ever, Vanessa. She nodded, no argument. Springing to her lips. I understand. Do you? Yes. She met my gaze. We can build something new, but it has to be different. I know that now. In the living room, Ella's delighted squeal drew our attention. I stepped around Vanessa to see my niece, so much bigger now, toddling toward me with outstretched arms. Up, she demanded, and I lifted her, breathing in baby shampoo and graham crackers. Leo appeared with a crayon drawing. Look, Auntie Claire. This is from when you took care of us. See? You're reading me a story, and Ella's in her bouncy chair, and it's beautiful, I managed, fighting the tightness in my chest. Mom appeared at my elbow. I'm sorry, she whispered. I didn't see it clearly before. I was wrong. Claire. So wrong. Across the room, Vanessa watched us, something like respect replacing the entitled expectation I'd grown used to seeing in her eyes. When dinner was ready, everyone pitched in, carrying dishes, filling water glasses, helping Leo with his plate. No one assumed I'd do it all. Later, I helped Leo with another drawing while Vanessa cleaned up without being asked. Our eyes met across the room, understanding passing between us. Bittersweet but real. Some bridges can't be rebuilt exactly as they were. Sometimes they must be designed anew, with stronger foundations and clearer boundaries. Standing at the sink, watching leaves dance across the darkening yard, I realized that saying no isn't cruel. It's what you do when yes has cost you too much. Like a bone that breaks and heals stronger, some relationships need that clean break to mend properly. The sound of Leo's laughter mingled with the clink of dishes and the soft murmur of family conversation. Not perfect. Not like it was. But maybe, just maybe, better than before.